What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. Now, this episode we are going to talk to the nobles of Orzammar, mainly Harrowmont and Balin, but before we hop into that, we are going to dive into our level up that we picked up last episode. So what we've been doing, really, is just going two and two, trading off on dexterity and cunning, and putting the leftovers into willpower, so we're going to keep that trend going. Right now in skills, there isn't much at this point that's going to be very useful for us, so I suppose in the end, we can probably just keep going with tactics. The times we do switch over and micromanage our other companions, it'll help us out to have more tactic slots in the end. We are going to finally start working on this dual weapon tree too. We're going to pick up Riposte finally. The character strikes at a target once, dealing normal damage, as well as stunning the opponent unless it passes a physical resistance check. The character then strikes with the other weapon, generating a critical hit if the target was stunned. That's going to be huge for us if we manage to pull the stun off. I'm actually going to put that pretty low on our priority list of abilities. Yeah, I'll probably rather have that than Flurry, to be honest. That seems like a pretty good layout for us. 3 is the sweep, 4 is riposte. Right, now, I believe we did leave off right next to Harrowmont's estate. Yeah, the Orzammar crier here. This guy's besmirching Balin.
The public has a right to know. I just get paid to speak the truth. If you have an issue, speak to my employer.
And your employer would be the nobles that you can't talk down to without getting decapitated in Orzammar. Now, I assume, given the current state of Orzammar politics, we're not going to be able to just waltz in and talk to Mr. Harrowmont.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulan Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help.
I would speak with Lord Harrowmont.
In an ordinary time, Lord Harrowmont would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Harrowmont under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Harrowmont, you will need to prove he can trust you.
Would that be an assassination attempt? How can I prove I'm not working for Balin?
That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously. And unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down.
So you'd like me to enter the proving in Harrowmont's name?
It would certainly make your loyalties loud and clear. Balin would never work with anyone who...
He'd like a Grey Warden, would he?
Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then.
Well, I did already tell you guys I was interested in fighting in this proving, so kind of benefits us that he wants us to do that anyways. I'll enter the proving and see why the others withdrew.
Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the proving master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Baisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons. There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
Interesting. So we will swing by Tapster's at some point to talk to him, and that is a Lord's Trust, the first task. We're not going to be able to go into Harrowmont's study, but we might be able to check out the rest of his little palace here. And it'll be no surprise to anybody that Balin has enough blackmail to make some fighters step down. No doubt there was threats of personal safety, family safety. I'm sure there was a lot of reasons for those fighters withdrawing. All of them valid for them. I mean, dwarves don't play nice. There'll be poisons, there'll be blackmail, there'll be family kidnappings, forged documents. The dwarves play the grand game, not too dissimilar from the Orlaisians, except the dwarves are much more likely to just openly kill you, like we saw as soon as we came into Orzammar. They'll play the game to a degree, but when it gets a little too public, they'll just start killing each other. It's a much more traditional political system where Thanes would fight each other for the balance of things. Now we are going to go talk to Balin too before we decide what we're going to do. Harrowmont's little aide there said that Balin had tried to assassinate him essentially with a spy. And that all of the fighters mysteriously pulled out of the proving.
Voice of change and defense. Lord Harrowmont is the voice of stagnation. and ruin.
Being the voice of change is a very dangerous thing in Orzammar. I'm surprised he has straight up the balls to do that. Into the Royal Palace. That's going to be very unpopular amongst a lot of the traditionalist dwarves in Orzammar. We know how much they dislike change from the codexes we've been reading and how much they really don't like the surface that much.
Greetings.
It's good to see the Grey Wardens know the rightful king in Orzammar.
There's actually no Balin in here, it seems. We have a throne of Orzammar, however.
On it.
Aged in stone. Now there is a little quest here. A little dragon we can fight, so... Hold all your opponents. Actually, wasn't going to do this just now, but since we came in here, we may as well.
Of course.
Drop Win. I believe the one that Win needs to stand on is outside this room. And then we need to do that. It's going to spawn a dragon up in here. Little hidden dragon fight for you guys. Let everybody move freely now. Alistair, I would love for you to be over here, like right now. Thank God that he got stunned. Mage is coming in clutch for us again. The dragon's not going to be much of a match for us at this point. He might get some stuns off here and there, but he's dead. There's the hidden throne room dragon.
Let's get started.
Now, he does have Ageless, which is a pretty good sword. It weakens nearby Darkspawn, has messy kills, which is always huge. It does increase hostility and intimidation, though, so if you're not tanking, I wouldn't recommend using Ageless. It is, of course, a two-handed weapon, so it's not going to be very good for us, but if you're a two-handed warrior posing as a tank, then you can certainly use that. Pretty good for the cause. Check out the palace a little. Chest to loot, things to rob. A love letter for the tavern owner in Denerim. Plenty of things in here. There's actually a glass phylactery too, which is a revenant fight for us. We'll grab this before we head to Balin. I believe Balin's first is in the Shaperate chamber. Many of King Endrin's belongings have been rushed into storage, including trophies of his long reign. Among the boxes is a small glass phylactery. The area is unnaturally cold. Dark shapes swirl around a slip of paper within the vial. Take the vial. The glass fractures at your touch.
Never know what hit him. A little frantic? I can see why. Is it just me, or do you actually think you have a chance?
Now we're just gonna hit this dude as much as we can, really.
On your guard. That's it. You had it coming.
We shouldn't need to heal. I don't think we will. Should be able to just sit here and chop this wood. Seems like he's immune to flanking.
It's either you or me, and it isn't gonna be me. Show me what you got.
He's down all the same. Very nice.
As you wish.
He has a scrap of paper as always, heavy plate, and some spirit bombs. Now, those revenants do pop up in some strange places. I'd be very curious to know how that one specifically got inside Orzammar's little throne room here. Now we have these thieves that accidentally fell into the throne room. Or just outside the throne room. My whirlwind is actually still on cooldown. There we go. Let's hit this little dwarf with a riposte. They're not going to be much match for us. Funneling Thief. Given that this is the Royal Palace, you gotta imagine that these are just some Dust Town looters coming in here to get the scraps of Endrin's hoard. We did just read that most of it has been in, put into storage.
You caught them in the act. I guess desperate times drive people to strange things.
Indeed.
Thanks again, Warden.
No problem. Yeah, I imagine likely they were just coming in here to Loot the storage room of King Endrin's crown jewels. No, we're not going to get to go there yet. That's locked up and protected by a lot of royal guards. We don't want the smoke with that, so done in the royal palace for now. Actually, anybody who's been watching the channel for a while, you'll know this, but I just got done with a workout before I decided to record this video. I am a huge proponent of kettlebells. I think everybody, pretty much period, should own a kettlebell and get some really good workouts in. And for anybody who doesn't like to go to the gym, they're the perfect home workout tool. You don't need a lot of space, they don't take up a lot of room, and they're very inexpensive for what you get out of them. Definitely would recommend that. Finally head into the chamber. Is Vartag. I assume he works for Balin. We're not going to bother with the assembly chamber just yet.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Gavorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring?
You know who I am.
It would be hard not to notice the Grey Warden and his eclectic entourage. I hear you seek the aid of Orzammar's finest.
This treaty obliges Orzammar to send troops to the surface.
Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now.
So you already see the difference between Balin's second and Harrowmont's second. This guy has a certain air about him, doesn't he? Can I talk to Balin?
You must understand, Harrowmont hides behind his good reputation while sending spies and assassins. Balin can't know who to trust. It's been like a knife in the heart for Balin to see so many of his father's men stand with the usurper.
This guy comes off very, very ingenuine. I thought King Endrin himself supported Harrowmont.
That hurts worst of all. That Harrowmont would take advantage of the dying king's delirium to plant such poisonous suspicions against his own son. After that, you understand why Balin cannot trust the word of a stranger, however reputable that stranger might be.
What must I do to prove my good intentions?
Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception.
Irrefutable evidence, which I suppose you have?
I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude.
I think Owen just hit the nail on the head there. What kind of evidence?
Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes.
Where did you get the promissory notes?
That's not important.
Right, I'm sure it's not.
Say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty.
I'll have to think about this.
Don't expect this offer to last. If my prince hears you swore allegiance to his enemy, he won't be so friendly next time. I will be here if you change your mind.
Now, I believe we maybe got the promissory notes.
I hope you're not wasting my time with more dithering. The choice I gave you was clear. If you want Balin to support you in your surface war, you'll have to help him take the throne.
I'll do whatever I need to.
Excellent. I have the promissory notes right here. Just take them to Lady Dace and Lord Helmy, and show them Harrowmont is not as honest as he claims. Lady Dace doesn't leave the quarter much, but Lord Helmy's adventurous, likes to spend his time at Tapster's in the Commons. Remember, don't tell them you got these papers from me. You learned of them and drew your own conclusions.
Right. My own conclusions. Now, if we head to the quests here, we have a Lord's Trust, the first task, which is, this is where we go to the Proven for Harrowmont, and we have a Prince's Favor, the first task. And this is take these promissory notes to the Lords. However, he did mention a little interesting thing there. He said that we should lie and say we found them in the Shaperate. So, given, you know, certain interested parties, let's take these to the Shaperate and see if we can test the validity of these forms. My good friend the dwarf here might be interested in these.
Ah, you return, Warden. Is there more you would know from Orzammar's memories?
Could you look at these promissory papers for me?
These are Harrowmont lands promised here. But these are not the deals we approved at the Shaperate. Where did you get these?
Vartag Gavorn gave them to me.
And he scripted these counterfeits? This is a serious crime. I will have the Ministry of Lands begin an investigation into the Gavorns immediately.
The papers are forged?
Not entirely. There were 2 promised deals, but their terms differed significantly from what is presented here. It appears the scripter altered the dates and locations of the agreements to make them identical.
Thank you. I need to have words with someone.
You are an outsider, Warden, but not outside the law. I hope you will not do anything to challenge the stability of Orzammar.
Of course not. Alright, and that's pretty much all we needed to know from the Shaper. We don't need to dig into that anymore. Vartag Gavorn is a scumbag, and the person he works for is a scumbag. Lord Harrowmont wants us to go win his favor legitimately. He wants us to go trial by combat in the way of the old gods and the ancestors, and fight in the proven, and find out what shadiness is going on. Now, Vartag Gavorn gives us a couple slips of paper, completely forged, lying to turn people against Harrowmont. You already see Harrowmont wants to do it legitimately, Balin wants to do it like a snake. Now, if he's willing to forge all these documents and do all these things, you have to imagine that he was willing to do a lot more than that. Now, I know it's just a rumor that he decided to kill... He has had very thirsty companion. Now, I know it's just a rumor that Balin decided to kill King Endrin. However, what we already see is that Balin is definitely not above doing things the slimy way. And even his second had that air of, like, corrupt, like a dirtbag just peddling out the lines, whereas Harrowmont's second seemed quite genuine. So, as you probably gathered already, based on my attitude towards the 2 houses, I'm sure you know that I'm siding with Harrowmont here. I would not, even not coming in here blind, knowing nothing about the political landscape, I choose between somebody who seems very forthright and honorable, or somebody who's clearly a snake, has rumors of poisoning his own father, killing his own brother, and first met me under the pretense of a lie and tried me to get my hands dirty with his, like, foul deeds too. Like, none of that is gonna happen. You know I'm not about that life, so we're going with Harrowmont.
It'll be 2 years tomorrow. By all the holy sodding ancestors, how can you people just ignore that?
Branka didn't go alone, Oghren. She took the whole house, everybody but you. So just get over to Tapster's and drown yourself already. You know as well as I do that's how this always ends.
You think I'm afraid of some cub warrior who's barely off the teat? I'll...
You lift a weapon or attack a single citizen in Orzammar, and you're stripped of your caste and exiled. Even you can't have forgotten that. Get out of here before I call a guardsman.
Interesting that he's not even allowed to carry a weapon here. Everybody else that we've seen in the warrior cast has been completely armed. He didn't have any weapons at all.
Can you believe it? Oghren's barely even warrior caste anymore, and he just clomps in here like he's entitled.
Who is Oghren?
Oghren's a drunken wretch. He comes up here 2-3 times a week, hounding people to lead some suicidal rescue mission after Branka. Gets quite violent about it. I'd be scared if they hadn't practically gelded him after he killed young Lord Mino.
What do you mean, gelded him?
Well, he killed Lord Mino's youngest son in a duel to first blood. It was a huge scandal. Oghren should have been executed, but he'd won honors in the deep roads. Instead, they stripped him of all weapons and forbid him from engaging in fights within city limits. If he breaks the decree, he'll be exiled.
Why does Oghren care so much about Branka?
She's still his wife, isn't she? Even if she took their entire house into the deep roads and abandoned him.
Branka was married to that drunk.
Well, before she was a paragon, she was just a smith. And Oghren was one of the best warriors of his generation.
Best warriors of his generation, huh? How did she become a paragon? We already know this. She made the fumeless coal.
Fuel that let the smith caste increase their output by nearly 1/3. Deaths from the Black Lung also dropped. The Assembly said she had the favor of the ancestors and declared her a paragon. They moved Branka, Oghren, and all their relatives to the noble caste and founded a new house in her name.
A smokeless coal would be very useful, especially down here in caves like this. Why did Branka go into the deep roads?
Chasing some old treasure. She was quite secretive. Outright rude, really. She said she never asked to found a house, that she didn't care about politics, and that we were too self-absorbed to defeat the Darkspawn. She actually threatened anyone who said they'd come after her.
What were you and Oghren arguing about?
It's been 2 years since Branka left. No one has ever stayed in the deep roads that long and survived. The search teams who went out found nothing, but Oghren wants to keep risking lives searching.
I should leave before you start complaining about me, too.
If you see any guardsmen, tell them Oghren was at it again.
It seems like Oghren used to be a great warrior. It's kind of crazy that his wife led their entire combined house into the deep roads without him. I wonder why she left him behind, especially given that he's essentially one of the greatest warriors in Orzammar currently, the best of his generation. We did hear while they were bickering back and forth that he went to Tapster's, so you can swing by Tapster's.
So, I've been hearing rumors that a certain wine merchant is falling behind on his payments.
I can't imagine what you mean. I pay my expenses.
What about the expenses your good friend Jarvia incurs when providing your protection? It's not easy ensuring nothing.
This seems like a classical scumbag shakedown.
No one decides to just burn everything in your store.
My store! Please, I don't have much. Business isn't good. People are scared. Tell Jarvia I'll get her money.
Jarvia's not happy with your promises, old man. Now let's go inside and see what you've been holding back.
He sounds like the voice actor for the Pride Demon in the Fade. Now, we're not going to let this shakedown take place. I'm really glad I came by when I did, actually. I'm not going to let these scumbags rob this man.
This is all I have right now. I could get more if I sell something.
Well, well. Looks like we have a visitor. Friend of yours?
Is there a problem here, friend? Are these men threatening you?
Please, don't get involved with this. You don't know what they're like.
Then allow me to make some introductions. These are dangerous times in Orzammar.
Indeed.
Stranger.
Getting more dangerous by the second.
Merciful Jarvia is offering protection from the chaos.
Wow.
You're wearing some fancy stuff there. Might make you a target. So if you want the Carta's guarantee of safety, it's yours for the reasonable price of 10 gold sovereigns. Or I can't say what might happen.
Oh, I can say what's gonna happen. The Carta.
You really should learn more about the places you visit. The Carta is the foundation of business in Orzammar. It's a commercial venture of like-minded individuals who make money in whatever way suits their talents.
Right. I don't care what you call yourself. Leave this man alone.
I don't see anyone who's going to make me.
Oh, I do. That sounded like a threat.
Are you going to make your donation to the Stranger Safety Fund? Or do I have to show you how dangerous Orzammar is?
Show me.
Whatever you say, dead man.
No, he picked that fight. I maybe egged him on a little bit, but I gave him a chance to walk away. Regardless, we weren't going to let them do anything to this poor innocent man. Now, they all get to die, and we get to make Orzammar a better place. Rogar is going to be the first one to die. There goes his head. Now we'll just systematically slaughter the rest of his little thug band. Yeah, I could never just walk by that and watch somebody get robbed at knife point like that.
What have you done? Great ancestors, he's dead! In my store.
He's very dead.
I have to get out of here. I have to hide. Jarvia will hunt me down for this.
What do you know about this Jarvia?
I've never met her, of course. They say she never leaves Dusttown. That's the older area of the city where the casteless congregate. She's the one directing this depravity. Since good King Endrin died, they're getting bolder. I wouldn't be surprised if her men come after me in the Diamond Quarter itself.
What do you know about Hakata?
A band of castless thugs. They're to blame for all the crime in Orzammar these days. They're criminals, and the children of criminals. The ancestors themselves declared them irredeemable.
The caste divide is deep indeed.
These castless, they're all the same. Beggars, thugs, and murderers, everyone. Actually, we shouldn't be talking here. I need to run.
Well, I don't necessarily believe that all castless are the same, but we're certainly going to be looking forward to having a conversation with Javia about this. Sending these two-bit thugs into the noble quarters to shake down innocent people. Like, these aren't the politicians that mad at for making them castless. These are merchants and people just trying to peddle their wares and make a living, feed their families. I'm not going to let scumbags like that have any kind of effect on this place. Now, we do also need to dip into the major circle for Dagna at some point, but to wrap up this episode, I think we're actually going to hit up Tapsters. Talk about Oghren in here. Then we'll dip into Dust Town next episode. Then we'll go hit up the Proven. And Lord Helmy is over here. And there's Oghren. There's Doolin. I wonder if we can tell Doolin about these forged papers.
Back so soon? The proving is not finished. What happened?
Vartag wants me to show people that Harrowmont is a cheat.
That you spoke to him even after our discussion is not reassuring. I assume you still intend to fight in the proving.
The provings, tell me about them.
The provings are how our ancestors show their judgment, pitting body against body in a ring of scared stone. Everyone in Orzammar accepts that judgment.
Who is fighting for Balin today?
The usual. A couple of Idukans, some Gavorns. He has many men lined up, but not all of them are top-ranking. Piotin Idukan and Wojciech Ivo are his best. They're both unpredictable, and some of the best fighters Orzammar has seen.
Gavorns, you say? Well, I'm very interested in killing some Gavorns after Vartag lied to us and tried to get us to shill for him. How well do you know Lord Harrowmont?
I served under General Harrowmont for 3 years. Under his command, every dwarven life is important. He would not waste even a single soldier. He is the king Orzammar needs, especially in a blight. Balin would call any fight a victory so long as he remains standing.
Interesting. I would rather have a general than a spoiled little brat.
Lord Harrowmont will pray for your swift victory.
And rest assured I'll get it. Let's talk to Oghren.
What do you want? Hey, I heard about you. Grey Warden, coming from the surface. Great crisis in the world. People are saying how you've thrown yourself on Harrowmont's wagon train. I figured you'd be the one, you know, who could help me find Branka. But I guess you're just like all the rest.
I wouldn't rule it out yet, Oghren. All the rest of whom?
Power-hungry Deep Lords. The only real concern they have is whose ass gets the throne. You don't have to play dumb, Warden. Their lackeys only come to me when they want something. Well, if you want the secrets of a paragon, do the work and find her.
Is that who Branka is? She's the paragon?
City's only living paragon, and she's been lost in the deep roads for 2 years. 2 years, and no one's raised a bleeding army to go look for her. What's it matter to you, huh? You trying to find out her secrets? That what Harrowmont sent you here for? I know he's been poking around, trying to find things out about her, what she was looking for. Won't tell me spit, though. He wants it for himself, right? A little blessing from the Ancients' technology, and he's assured the throne. Is that it?
He doesn't trust much, does he? What if I genuinely want to help you?
Too little, too late. But it's a nice gesture, Warden. If you think your boot kissing will get you an in I don't have, you're welcome to try this. I know both Harrowmont and Balin have been asking about her. 2 years without a peep, and suddenly now they want to start looking. If you find out what they know, it might just put me a step closer to finding her. Or sit here and have a drink. It's all the bleeding same to me. Barkeep?
He doesn't seem very positive about the whole situation, doesn't even really want to talk to us. Ironically, considering he was just making a fuss in the Diamond Quarter trying to get somebody to talk about Branka. he finally gets a Grey Warden in here who's willing to go, and he's too bitter to really take the hand. His brother Burkel.
Andraste teaches that patience is the child of wisdom, but I'm eager to hear if you've seen the Shaper.
He agreed to let you hold your prayer meetings.
Oh, praise the Maker! You truly walk in the light, friend. I already found a convert among the merchants who offered his shop as a temporary chantry. It's just by the Tapsters. Please, come to our first service.
You might not thank me for that when you actually do that. I suppose there might be some consequences for bringing up a chantry here. That's Tapsters. Whereas this merchant's guild that he's referring to. I'm not really sure where it is. Perhaps it's not open yet. I imagine it will be the building with the stained glass windows, but alas, we can't go in there yet. We do have a level up for Alistair real fast before we wrap up. What have we been doing with you, Alistair? We'll give you 2 cunning for the next tactics slot. Suppose beyond that, we'll start working on dexterity for your shield talents. We are, of course, going to give him Warcry. Not going to dip into these 2 shield talents yet. It's going to be way more important to get him the champion skill tree. It is the ultimate tank ability. Now, Warcry. The champion lets out a fearsome cry that gives nearby enemies a penalty to attack. With superiority, nearby enemies are also knocked down unless they pass a physical resistance check. So, of course, we're going to dip right into Alistair's tactics here, and we're going to put that up immediately. So, self. Surrounded by enemies. Well, I'm going to do 4, because I don't want him to be popping this by himself all the time. I do want to micromanage most of it, but if he needs to put it up, he's going to put it up, so that'll be good enough. Now we have him taunting and surrounded by 3 and Warcry surrounded by 4. The aggro is obviously more important, so we'll actually put that above him in the tactics. And that should be good. We should be good on this episode. I think we got a lot done. The only things we have left to do really is dip into Dust Town and then head to the Proven. So that is going to be a wrap for this episode, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, there is a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you guys soon with more Dragon Age Origins. Take care, guys. Have a good day.